Sam Darnold walks into that facility being the most experienced, probably the highest upside, I think there's a chance that he challenges and possibly starts for that team. I think if they have Sam Darnold in that NFC Championship game, they can win that game last year.
I think a lot of times in the last couple of years, they've had Thielen out of his natural position. They've kind of had him running a little bit in a more intermediate routes.
He's got the double whammy working against him, right, in the NFL as a receiver. He's
old and white.
He's 32 and he's white.
Hey, listen, I'm riding with Adam Thielen. You're old, you're white, but guess what? I still believe in you, buddy. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back. This is Guys on Sports. Zach is missing. It's free agency frenzy going on in the NFL right now. I can barely keep up. Guys on Sports. What did I say?
Well, it's guys because Zach's gone and he's a boy.
Yeah.
He is a boy. He's a young, impressionable.
Yeah.
Oh, did they have the gender reveal already? We're sure he's a boy?
Yeah, we're sure he's a boy.
So
anyway, speaking of Zach, he's on a male-only cruise, and I hope he sent the picture from St. Thomas. It looks like a ball.
Yeah, it does.
Have you guys been in contact with him?
No, because I think when you go on those boats, you know
those boats.
Yeah, that they kind of like, you know,
no
communication,
photo, video policy.
Yeah, well, I think
that makes sense because he took a picture in port.
Yeah, I think the general thing is throw your phone and your keys into the bowl.
To call the key party.
Yeah.
He's in port. Is he in port or out of port right now? Or is he port?
I didn't even see the picture. He must not have sent it knowing that I was going to fucking rip on him.
He posted it on his his Instagram. Something like that.
Did it?
Well, hey, have a good time, buddy. I hope you find what you're looking for. Also, Mark,
discovery, man.
Last week
that's the age.
we put out. Sorry, Rocky. We put out a horn, what do you want to call it? A decree,
an ask,
a request for song ideas from Mark to perform in his video. We got a few requests. We want to.
Why am I performing again?
Because you
came in last place in the picks.
I don't think what place Mark came in can be considered last, because it means last means 12-2, 12, 10-4, 8 and
So, I get what you're saying.
It was like he was playing a different sport.
Okay, now to be fair, before you defend yourself, I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, no.
I feel bad because I was really good and then I was bad the last 6 weeks of the.
And yet you still were like 12 games ahead of him.
This is why I have to make fun of you because you still lost to me. By 10.
Yeah. I also didn't. I picked games while we were here.
Well, I mean, that's on you, though.
We all did.
Yeah, we kind of all did.
I just know how bad you guys would look on camera doing a video. That's all.
That's right.
I was being a sweetheart.
I appreciate that.
Mama raised a sweetheart. But my challenge this year, this is a fantasy football show. We shouldn't be doing NFL picks. What we should do is we should do a suicide fantasy lineup every week. And we keep our stats throughout the year. And go based off of that.
That's a lot of work.
Wow, man, you really went down that. Oh, I will do the work. Don't you worry.
It sounds like you're trying to skew this to make yourself have a better chance of winning.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I mean it's also a fantasy show.
Theoretically, well, when we did the picks, it wasn't a fantasy show. So,
I know that's what I'm saying.
It's also theoretical that you have a better chance of winning that because you came in last place in our fantasy league as well, and you'll be performing on stage for that.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, so we want to encourage you.
I just know how shitty all your guys' voices are. So
that's fair.
I fell on the sword.
That's in one league out of his 100.
Yeah, that's fair. So
he finishes in a lot of leagues. He finishes first, and
he's a volume shooter.
Yeah.
So we want to encourage you to give us some more request or ideas. We're gonna pick out of a hat next week live on air.
Yeah, we are.
And figure out what you're gonna be singing. It'll give you some time to lose some weight, like you said.
Oh, we're picking out a hat?
Yeah, well, each one of us get to put in a pick, so you get to put a pick in too.
We're gonna pick a few from online, like ones that make sense. We're not gonna pick
There were some filthy
There's some good ones. There were some good ones.
Yeah, there were some filthy ones too.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
We'll make it fun.
Which, I mean, to be fair, filthy for me.
Yeah.
Mark's probably got that cued into his
Yeah, that's fair. I think, but filthy for you is
yeah.
also not filthy for me. You're a little bit of a prude, Rocky.
Yeah.
Let's be.
Listen, but
let's
that
be real.
song, that was.
What song?
Filthy
Just say it.
Filthy for you
I-
is
I
like
don't remember the
80s
name.
Madonna.
You do remember the name?
No, I don't, but I can find it. Here
What,
on my
thong
phone.
song?
No.
Okay.
No, that was
Filthy
not-
for Rocky is like late 80s Madonna.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
filthy.
Like, yeah, it's a little
like
risque.
a virgin. Oh my God.
Wow, that really
Cover your ears.
started the engine inside.
This
All
is,
right.
This
For
is what
the
I want to
very
hear.
first time. What does she mean? What does she mean by that?
You
What'd
guys
she
ever?
do for the first
You guys
time?
ever seen Boat Trip?
Yeah.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
You have no idea how badly I've been trying to find gifts from Boat Trip to send to the group because he's on this fucking cruise. And the,
Oh well, you know what? I
Gifts-
got you, buddy.
the gift generator
I
doesn't
could
have
just
it.
I could just Photoshop his face onto some Boat Trip pictures, and
100%. You have to.
that's what I thought of when I seen him send the picture from St. Thomas.
Is it
Beautiful
Is
St.
it St.
Thomas.
Is that where he's at?
That's where he was in port.
Is he the Horatio Sands of St. Thomas?
He is, but better looking. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
All right, what are you looking for there? Can we get on to our NFC North fantasy projections? All right, we're going to our fantasy section, and this is a series moving division to division. Basically, we were given our way too early ideas of what we wanted teams to do in free agency or what we thought was going to happen and how we think it would affect them in the fantasy season in 2023. But now we have some solid stuff to base it on.
Developments, you might even call it.
And to be fair, we're going to the NFC North. Not a lot going on there besides the Bears really kind of making noise in that division. And, it could be questioned, are they spending wisely or are they spending like a drunken sailor? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying which side I fall on, but I think you can make an argument for either side. But they have the money, spend it. I'm sure they could get out of these contracts.
Oh yeah, all of these that's we talked about last week how the salary cap is fiction, and most of these contracts are fiction. They're backloaded. I mean, they're easy to get out of or front loaded.
If your GM knows what he's doing,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, and I'll give it to the Bears. I'm sure they do.
You'll give it to anybody.
Most of these contracts are 2 years and out if they don't like these players. So
yes.
Yeah, I think the Bears and the Texans, they've been making the most noise, and I don't blame them. Why not?
Yeah, why not? You got the money.
Yeah.
You suck. All right, so let's start with the Lions, and that's the team I have written under my name for no reason at all. Just that's the way I wrote it down. But we'll start with the Lions because they really haven't done anything. So I think we can talk about what we expect out of some players going into 2023 or maybe a move we think they might make. But I think status quo, I think they're pretty much set on the offensive side of the ball. What do you guys think? I know they re-signed Reynolds. They re-signed one of their key offensive linemen. But outside of that, skill players kind of remain intact. You still got Goff there. High-powered offense last year. A lot of options in that offense to play. Do we think anything changes? Do we see another move coming?
Well, I know I'm going to let you talk about the running back situation because you think there's going to be a change, and that's, it is kind of disruptive a little bit to their offensive flow.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, you have Jamal Williams coming off of, a career year, and this guy's he's been putting up numbers the last couple of years, right? Last year he rushes
He's an energizer bunny, never gets hurt, it seems like.
And a great dude in the locker room, too.
Great locker room guy.
I think we all saw, Hard Knocks where he's that guy that's just, he finally mixes having a great time with, all right, guys, it's time to go to work, right?
Yeah.
So, he knows how to walk that line. 17 touchdowns last year. However many yards he had, and he was very effective. Not just goal line automatic, but outside of that, the guy can move the rock too.
Yeah.
And for him, for Detroit to keep him around is going to be very difficult if he wants to get paid. Now he strikes me as the type of dude that might stick around just because he loves the situation.
Yeah, I think he likes the coaching staff too.
Yeah, I mean he's that guy that plays with a lot of heart, and he might stick around because he knows the guys and he knows that they can get it done. But we all know money talks too, right? So, I mean, holy shit, man.
Sweet ass engine right there.
Right? Was that a low-flying plane or was that like a Dodge Charger?
Yeah, it was probably a street ride.
That made my clam purr. I'm going to be honest with you.
Seriously.
Probably a race burner.
So, we all know money talks. So, I mean, somebody ponies up for this guy. You're looking at a team like Cincinnati that's got no definitive running back right now. You got Mixon in trouble, and also
Big trouble.
Yeah, and also free agent, I believe. Samaje, I think, is also a free agent.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at a team like Cincinnati that you don't want to take a step backwards, right? You've worked so hard to get this offense clicking where it is. You got Burrow and Higgins, who you got to pony up and try to sign both of these guys.
All right.
You might bring in a Jamal Williams. So Jamal Williams is going to be a hot commodity, man.
So you go somewhere else with this, huh?
Well, no, I mean, just talking about that with the Lions. Like,
So you think he's gone
It's
from
going to
the
be
Lions?
very difficult,
Okay.
I think, for the Lions from their perspective to keep
Just
him.
want to bring you back home.
I think he's going to want to stay with the Lions. But as you said, I think somebody might overpay him. Somebody might pay him enough to where he's got to look at it and say, I got to leave.
I feel like, all right, so it's a guy who's been in the league for a long time, with
never
Green
really
Bay
had a
for a
payday.
long time.
Yeah.
Based on what we've seen in Hard Knocks, and by the way, Hard Knocks made him a star, right? But based on what we've seen in Hard Knocks, I think he really likes the coaching staff. He mentioned how it was the first time in his career that they let him just be him. And I think that carries some weight when a guy says that in the media, and they had success. So I think there's a chance they do, maybe make something work out with him where he would take a hometown discount.
Yeah.
But big picture wise, how does that affect Swift? Who's the guy you want going into next season? Because I know last year the upside of Swift, and even when he was on the field, it kind of panned out. But Williams with the red zone touches and just the efficiency on the goal line, who's the back you want there? I think we know where the receivers stand. DJ Chark is gone, right? Or he's just unsigned right now?
He's a free agent.
So Amon-Ra is there still, and Jameson Williams coming back. I imagine that Chark won't be back. But I think that's probably the big question there. How valuable is Swift? And if Williams signs, that affects things a lot.
Right now, I mean, you're seeing Swift. That's the caveat to drafting early. You're seeing Swift hang around real late.
Yeah.
So if you got a good gut feeling that you think Jamal might go elsewhere and Swift can stay on the field, then you want to try to grab Swift ahead of time. But on the flip side of that, if you think Jamal might end up in a situation where he is the primary 3-down back, I mean, you're striking gold there too.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that? Because I think we got to move. There's not a lot here with them.
No, my only other question would be, how do you feel about their receivers? Because
I
I love
love both of
Williamson
them.
coming back and all year being healthy. He didn't really play till the very end last year and flashed almost immediately his deep route running, which is what he is.
Yeah.
He's a
He's a
top
burner.
of the ball. Yeah, he's not a great route runner yet.
I
but
think we're going to have to wait a couple weeks into the fantasy season to see how that pans out with them both on the field, because they weren't together long enough to see what it is last year.
Right.
But I think you're safe with either one of them. I love Goff with this offense because of the offensive line. Lets him be what he is. It's just a drop back, and he has an arm that could compete with anybody in the league.
It's strong enough.
And when
for
he
sure.
has time, he can get the ball out. I mean, he got a bad rap with the Rams because of the way that offensive line was constructed. But are they gonna respect the speed of Williams more than they respect the route running of Amon-Ra? And I think that's where you're gonna see who's gonna. I think you could roster both of these guys, but who's gonna be the guy that's gonna be the top 10 wide receiver this year? Is it still gonna be
I think
Amon-Ra?
it's a lot like the Philly situation with Brown and Smith.
It is similar, yeah.
Yeah, and even to some degree, Terry Scary and
Scary
Jahan,
Terry.
yeah, and then Jahan
So
Dotson
old.
situation.
Yeah.
Who is who do you go with? Do you go with the guy you think might score more touchdowns, or do you go with the guy that's probably the guy getting more targets?
I think Amon-Ra, I think people are reaching for him a little too early because I think he is going to take a drastic cut in production
You
this
think
year.
drastic? With Shark off the field?
Compared to what he's been. So Amon-Ra has been like the go-to guy. The guy's been close to double-digit targets. I don't know if he's going to see that this year.
Well, I mean, what did he get last year? 100 and was it like 160? I think targets. It was something ridiculous.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
But we're also talking about Goff like he's chopped. He's minced
I'm
meat.
not.
Goff was a former #1 pick, like you said. That he was a product of that system. That system focused on Todd Gurley, and in that Super Bowl when Gurley went out of the game and didn't come back, that really changed the dynamic because it wasn't Goff's fault. It was that Gurley was such a dynamic running back that their game plan was so altered that they couldn't do shit in that game.
All right, so we've talked about the lines enough. The last thing I'll say, just to put a bow on it, I do think there's going to be I think both of them will be very good because I think you're going to see people pay a lot of attention to Amon-Ra early in the season. I think Williams, if he stays healthy, will show you there's more in the tool belt than just downfield passes, and I think it'll even out halfway through the season. You're going to get production out of both of them. We'll move to the Vikings because there's also not a lot here. We talked a lot about the Lions, which there wasn't a lot. But the Vikings, I think it's kind of status quo too.
They gotta bring Madison back into town, and if they do, we're gonna see that paradigm shift of the ball going from Dalvin to Madison, because Dalvin, like you said, is getting long in the tooth. It shows in his burst. It shows in his tackle ability. Mm-hmm. He's not breaking as many tackles, and he's not staying on the field like he used to either. I don't know that he's still got that explosiveness. Madison does. Madison is one of those ferocious runners that hits the line and just keeps the pile moving. And I think that you might end up seeing, if they keep him in town, I think we're going to see a shift to
and Adam Thielen is also a free agent, right?
Yeah, I love Thielen. Like, I think he's...
Makes sense.
I mean,
great
let's face it, great white receiver. But you know me, I'm hooked on a Thielen. But I think somebody's going to, of course, pick him up and sign him. I think he's still a great target receiver.
I just wonder how much he's going to get because
he's not going to get much.
Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, he's going to be played somewhere.
I do think part of that is just the enormity of Justin Jefferson's presence on the field. I do think there's more in the tank with Thielen than it looked like the last year or two, year and a half.
I think he's still a good route runner, especially in the red zone. And I think if you use him, I think a lot of times in the last couple of years, they've had Thielen out of his natural position. Yeah. To me, he's more of that slot, real quick. Yeah. And I think they've kind of had him running a little bit in a more intermediate routes.
He's got the double whammy working against him, right, in the NFL as a receiver. He's
old and white.
He's 32 and he's white. I mean, right. It's the double whammy for
listen, I'm riding with Adam Thielen. You're old, you're white, but guess what? I still believe in you, buddy. Here's what I'll say though. I think the big question is whether Thielen comes back or not. The production that Jay Jettis put up last year, can he match that? Are you going to overdraft him? Should you overdraft him? Or should you kind of lay in the weeds and maybe look at who's going to be this year's Jay Jettis?
So you cannot overdraft him because he is currently the consensus 1.1 pick. So there's no overdrafting him. He is going off the boards as the number one pick.
Do you think he's worth that, though? Because I wouldn't take him at one right now.
He's young and he's productive, and you're looking at Thielen leaving. And
you're
looking
him in a
at
dynasty league, yes, I think you can take him 1-1.
But so it depends on your theory, right? So there's a lot of theories, whether you're running back heavy, wide receiver heavy. I still think that running back is so scarce that maybe you don't waste that 1-1 on Jettis and you get Jettis around 5-6. Now I'll take some shit for that, and rightfully so. It doesn't bother me, but I called that cup thing last year too, and that's what happens if you stretch for a guy like that, right?
Yeah.
And then he's out for the season. Now you're screwed, right? Because now you're coming back at pick 24.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at the probably the 16th running back off the board. Like it's tough. The person that I think that benefits the most from Adam Thielen leaving is KJ Osborne. And you can get KJ Osborne.
I like KJ Osborne.
Relatively cheap, and the guy he's going to produce. I'm calling it now. I think KJ Osborne is going to be league winner this year.
I think you've forgotten the man. I mean,
Jalen Rager.
Yeah, you forgot all about Jalen.
Sorry, I seen it on your screen right there.
How dare you? He's only 24.
Philly legend.
Only 24.
Philadelphia legend, Jalen Rager.
He's fresh too. He's only got like 37 targets in like 4 professional years.
Fresh legs.
Philly didn't know how to use them. They're a freaking hatchet job over there. They don't know how to use them.
Yeah, you're right.
They don't.
Garbage franchise. Losing everybody, by the way.
Garbage franchise, they are.
Just like I said.
But I think that...
Hemorrhaging players.
Different topic, but if you look at who they drafted in 2022...
Who?
The Eagles.
Oh, boy.
They knew who they were projected to lose.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're fine.
All right, so I'll say this real quick about Jefferson, and we'll move on to the Packers. With Jefferson... The thing that worries me about taking him at one, I like Osborne as if I'm picking one of those two receivers based on where they're going, I like Osborne as the pick.
He's a value.
the same thing you said about Cup. When I come into a draft and when a guy has a season like that, I never want to take that guy next year because the value is going to be inflated.
He's going down.
Number one. Number two, he's not going to replicate that. Number three, Kirk Cousins is a year older. Rumors of him maybe being able to be moved. I think he stays, but I just don't see how they replicate that without Thielen on the other side. Maybe not as good as he used to be, but now I don't think people respect Osborne, at least early on in the season, as much as they respected Thielen. And I think you're going to see the double coverage, the rolled coverage, more of a concentration on Jefferson, even than there was last year. And you got in that division, the Bears getting better on defense. Detroit's going to be better on defense. I don't know about the Packers, but, I don't think he's going to have the same type of year in that one. I want something, I'm going to be a little bit more adventurous and go for a guy I think is going to pop this year.
I think in those kind of players, Cooper Kupp, Amron, Jefferson, those are the players that you're hoping you're in a fantasy league. You're hoping that you have a feeling about them and you get them in your draft and you put them in your dynasty for 3 or 4 years, and then you're just riding them and you're not worrying about having to overpay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you got Jefferson, you're riding them.
All male
Simple
Cruz.
as that. Yeah, all male Cruz, kind of like our Zaddy.
Your Zaddy. Your Zaddy.
Is that the noise the horn makes?
Toot toot.
Toot.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's what you're kind of hoping for.
Yeah.
But if you're in like a redraft league,
That's right.
you're almost never you get that 1-1, you're kind of screwed because you kind of have to draft this player, but the chance that they're going to live up to what they
at 1-1, this is a hot take. I'm either taking the running back I think is going to be the RB1, and if I'm not taking a running back, I'm taking one of the top 2 quarterbacks. I know the position is what it is, but they're going to score the most out of any player on your team, and after you have the first 2, you're going to drop off. Go ahead, say what you're going to say.
Clip that.
No, you could clip that. And that's how I feel because as far as wide receiver, I don't mind waiting until the late second or third round to get one.
There's always a breakout. Like you look at last year for half the year, and I know we're kind of moving into the Packers now too.
We are,
So this kind of like it's a good segue. For most of the year, Romeo Doubs seemed like the clear receiver in Green Bay, and by the end of the year, it was clear that
Christian
chemistry
Watson
was Christian Watson. So there's always those receivers
100%.
you can pick up or you can get late that you take a flyer on that are the better value, whereas who the quarterbacks are. And the quarterbacks fall off pretty damn quickly.
So, like you said, before we move, we're going to move right into Dobbs and Watson and all that. But the other side of the point, because you're making that face at me, there is a thought process behind what I'm saying is that, like I said, I think you could get pretty good value for wide receiver in the late second, third round if you're picking first. But look at the number 1 overall pick last year. Who was it? You remember? Who was the consensus number 1 running back
a
pick?
lot of people had
Jonathan Taylor. And what happened to him?
He got hurt.
Okay.
Never performed.
So now that's not going to happen every year, but I'm just looking at if I'm taking a running back versus a core, if I could get Patrick Mahomes,
Stability.
Josh Allen, I know he's probably going to start every game. He's going to score the most on my team. So it's not, the most traditional thinking on it, but a lot of times when you get that guy, I feel like I can surround him with other guys because I lose JT week 6 and I'm going to be plugging in running backs all season.
I get the theory. I do get the theory, but
and then
what I'm going to tell you is that you can come back round 2 and get whatever quarterback you want, right? Because quarterbacks aren't coming off the board until.
But I'm not taking a quarterback round 2.
Well, and there's another, remedy you can do if you do make that. Because I think he drafted Jonathan Taylor.
Who?
You did. And then,
No, I had him rostered.
Well, and then he had to trade him for Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And then he gave up also Jalen Waddle and a number 1 pick.
That's true.
To me.
Yeah.
And I think I won that trade.
You're the OG Ryan
Well,
Poles.
yeah, the
You
fact
fleeced
that
them.
I didn't win, because I was going for the championship, and I told you it was biased when I made I wanted a Giant. I had no Giants.
Yeah.
And I was going for the Super Bowl. If I would have won the championship, you don't win that trade to me. But I didn't win, and I swung and I missed. So, all right. So the Packers: Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson.
Yeah.
Rodgers is gone. Lazard is gone. Cobb's gone. As of like an hour ago, Lazard is with the Jets. Pretty sure, like 99.9% that Rodgers will be with the Jets by the end of the day, early tomorrow.
That's what it's looking like. So my fear about Green Bay and fantasy is this is a tough one because is Jordan Love ready to take it over? And I'm going to be honest. I've watched this guy play, I think, every game that he's started, and
So
it's mixed.
about 3.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's mixed, right? And even in the preseason,
It's including college.
Big film guy.
okay, it's not a big, but that's the problem.
Hey Trish, you got 12 minutes to kill? Yeah, what are we having sex? No, we're gonna watch some Jordan Love tape.
I mean, it's probably as enjoyable, for her.
12 minutes is solid, Mark.
Probably as enjoyable.
I mean, if you're not counting foreplay, 12 minutes is
Well,
solid.
5 minutes of it is disrobing.
I mean, that's
so.
like a month of sex for Mark. So, anyways, but is Jordan Love ready to take over and be that QB1? And I haven't seen it. Like, it's mixed. Some possessions he looks pretty good, and then the next possession he throws an interception. He doesn't strike me as that guy that I'm like, holy crap, this is the heir apparent.
Yeah.
Now, Green Bay must be seeing something in practice that we're not, because they have held on to him.
Yeah, they've
right?
held tight.
They've held tight.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to when you see the transition from Favre to Rodgers. Now, Rodgers was projected to go earlier in that draft. He went 24. People weren't, like, enamored with Rodgers when he was there.
A lot of questions.
They held on to him. They moved on from a Hall of Famer, probably the greatest Packer of all time, arguably, right? If you throw Lombardi in there, a few other guys. But they moved on from him, and they moved to Rodgers. And it looked, I mean, early it wasn't awesome.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's considered, one of the probably top 5 quarterback of all time. Sans the one NFL, Super Bowl.
Bullshit.
It's the truth, right? I mean, it is what it is. But
He's
so
the first ballot Hall of
if
Famer
they've
for
if
sure.
they've kept him around,
so-
there's got to be a reason that he obviously he is like the day before he's going in.
Yeah, it's not even a discussion.
But Jordan Love,
I hope he
mean,
gets
there's
disqualified like Pete Rose.
wow, come on, that's not even on.
I
Pete
hope,
Rose.
I hope to God ayahuasca.
You gotta
ends up being-
you have
it
to
becomes
respect.
like globally black labeled, and he's blackballed.
You
from
have to
the-
respect game. I mean, I'm sure Packers fans hate the Bears and still can respect Walter Payton.
Yeah, and I mean that he's their Walter Payton, 100%.
No, I think is he their Walter Payton? I think Favre might be their Walter Payton.
I just want to buy him.
I mean, but who is Rodgers? I mean, he's got to be the Bears. What?
Gale Sayers.
Singletary.
No,
maybe
who's that other
Singletary.
quarterback? The punky QB.
Jim
McMahon.
McMahon. Did you say punky? God, your whiskers are popping out, guy.
That's the song.
He's a punky.
That's the song that he probably goes to sleep to. He probably wakes up. That's probably
Is
his
that a
alarm clock.
song?
This
Yeah.
guy's real riffraff. Let me tell you.
You don't remember that rap? Remember the Chicago Bears rap from the 80s?
Oh yeah, yeah. The Super Bowl Shuffle. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so
So here's my thing about Jordan
Aaron
Love.
Jones, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, okay, debate. But first of all,
Well, let's get to it.
I mean, I'm trying to get
You're
there.
trying.
but
You're really working through
Even
the
if
weeds.
Love is a competent QB, I don't know. Like, can he do enough for 2 wide receivers? I think you're having to decide. You got Lazard's gone, Cobb's gone. Okay, which one? Is it going to be Dobbs? Is it going to be Watson? Watson looked great at the end of the year,
Yeah.
but he truly is a deep threat, and that's
Yeah.
it. Dobbs runs better routes, and if you look, Dobbs never got more than 67% of the snaps all season. So he's about to get pretty much 100% of the snaps. So, but you got to buy in on one of them. I think right now you probably have to say Watson, but I don't know. Like, which one is it going to be? But I think it's only going to be one. I do think Aaron Jones, they believe in him.
Yeah.
But he's 28, and you got Dylan there still.
He looked good, but Dylan does different things than Jones.
He's still the handcuff. But
Ain't no one holding Quadzilla down this year. I think what you see happen with a lot of these teams, right, is once you move off that franchise quarterback, you start to move off your other franchise guys too. I don't know if it's the natural progression or if it's trying to meld your younger guys into the system. But I'm going to say when they transition to Rodgers, from Rodgers to Love, they're probably going to transition from Jones to Dylan as well.
I don't agree with you at all, but I'm going to finish your point.
I think what they're going to find out is they're going to find out that Love is probably not ready to handle this offense. I think they're going to find out that they're going to need steady running attack and somebody who can get through the line.
Yeah.
And Aaron Jones is a very capable back, but Aaron Jones is also that guy that's able to leak out and get a ton of receptions from a very savvy quarterback. So I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of intentional run, and I think we're going to see a lot of A.J. Dillon, the younger, stronger back, taking a lot of the run game.
He's a better pure runner for sure.
He's also the younger, stronger, slower back. And I think the only playmaker left on that offense, proven playmaker, is Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that goes without saying. So I'm not saying Aaron Jones is not a playmaker. I just don't know. I mean, we've seen it before, right? You can put a playmaker on an offense with a quarterback that can't produce or move the ball, and they're no longer a playmaker.
Well, you're making that assumption.
Case in point,
I'll let you finish.
Alvin
Sorry.
Kamara this
That's
past
true.
season.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara was reduced to being close to nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and now you have two young receivers, one of which historically can't catch, but Rodgers put him in great situations to make catches. So now if you have Love on the run, you have guys that maybe aren't getting a whole lot of separation because they can be glued down since they know that Rodgers isn't going to leak to the backs.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of quarterback.
It's going to be a completely different feel here. And, I mean, let's be honest. Nobody in Green Bay is safe thinking that Jordan Love is going out for a game-winning drive, right? Everybody's heart is in the pit of their stomach. Whereas with Rodgers, they at least thought, like, this is now ours to lose. I think it's the reverse here. And to compare him to some other guys that I don't necessarily like but would rather in that situation, same type of age, I don't think, I think you have a better feeling of Trevor Lawrence going out there and winning you a game, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's like slightly unproven, but in that situation, I think he proves
Could
better
argue
than Love.
super proven, though. Well,
I don't know.
Do you think
Justin
Jordan Love
Justin
is,
Fields? I would rather Justin Fields than that. What was-
Do you think Jordan Love is a real threat as a running quarterback too? Like, so do you think?
we just don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the big what if.
Here's the
He
point I was
seems
gonna-
like he would be. He's run some.
Let me get this in, Rocky.
Wait. Why do you think he would be?
Well, because in some of the games he's played, he's had design runs.
Nothing to
and
do with
he-
anything else.
No, I mean, you guys can think that, but no.
All right, so here's the last point I'll make on it is that I think anybody that you draft or trade for on this offense is it's a game of chance besides Aaron Jones. He's the only one that's been productive. Playmaker is a guy that you would roster and feel comfortable with coming into the season. I don't think any of these other guys you draft and start week one. I think you start Aaron Jones week one. So
I won't argue that.
That being said, I think you got to wait and see what everybody else. So the value for Aaron Jones is going to be decreased because of Rodgers leaving, and I think where you're going to get him is going to be better. Now, there's an argument to be made that there's going to be the Joe Schmoes who think he's more valuable because Rodgers is leaving. But like you said, you just don't know how it's going to work out. Yeah. But I think Dillon, to me, has not shown the propensity to be every down back, could do everything, make plays,
which is
carry
fair.
an
That's
offense.
fair.
I think they're going to lean on Jones. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. They kept this quarterback because they believe in him. I think they want to give him a guy that he could lean on.
Yeah.
Watson and Dobbs, you're going to have to see who fights it out and wins. So for me, the guy on this offense that I want before anybody else is Jones. That's a guy I'm taking in the top 6 rounds. The other guys are a flyer to me, Watson and Dobbs.
The one counterpoint I'll make to that is inside the 10-yard line, I think Jones is on the sidelines.
That's fair, but with a quarterback that you both just said you don't know if you believe in him, how many times are you going to be inside the 10-yard line?
Yeah. That's
yeah. The final point I'll make about Green Bay is to look out for the tight end position. They've only got one under contract, and that's that, I think, is a younger guy, Josiah DeGuara.
Yeah, okay.
But he actually played more slots as a fullback than as a tight end.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about Mike, your favorite, your guy.
Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
Next Travis Kelce.
Next Travis
Kelce.
I think it might be too late for that, but yeah.
But there's a lot of talk about if they don't bring Robert Tonyan back, that he could end up in Green Bay.
I think Tonyan might be gone.
Yeah, is he gone?
I just think he might be.
I think so too. But if they don't bring him back, there's talk about Michael playing, there.
So I'm just gonna say that if they end up getting Mike Gesicki and their quarterback is Jordan Love,
that's right.
I once compared
to the moon.
Gesicki
to the moon.
Gesicki to Kelce. In that situation, I'll compare Gesicki to current and Aaron Hernandez.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. All right. So let's get. It's crazy. You spent so much time talking about teams that did nothing. Let's talk about the Bears now. And they didn't pick this guy up in free agency, but they made a big trade. DJ Moore's there. I put Claypool on the list because I do think he's basically a free agent ad halfway through the season or more than halfway. He didn't really get integrated into that offense. And they got Nate Davis at left guard, projected at left guard, but he could be somewhere else. The Bears, Justin Fields. You got some playmakers around him now. You got DJ Moore. You got Mooney, who's got a true number one with him now. You got Chase Claypool, big body guy, athletic guy. Could they right the ship with him? Who's the most valuable wide receiver? Number one. Do we still value the running back in this offense? And is Justin Fields the number one overall pick?
You can't see it, but current boner alert down below.
I don't think anybody can see it. Sorry, Tara.
You don't even have to write names up there. I know exactly where we're going with this. How much time we got to spend on this?
Not a lot.
Here we go. You ready? Ryan Poles. And this is the one time you'll hear me give credit to the Eagles. Ryan Poles pulled a page out of Howie Roseman's book, and he went into Carolina, and he done fleeced himself a Cougar. He bent that team over, and he came out with an absolute load for the first overall pick. Now, you're going to hear people say, oh, they should have given up on Fields and taken some like mid shit and had a younger, unproven quarterback. Here's the difference. Fields has had 2 years in the league, and he's been a dynamic playmaker. Now you need to surround him with other playmakers to see what he's made of in the passing game, because you already know he's going to get by on his legs, right? He's not unlike, Lamar Jackson in the fact that, hey, if his arm's not working, if people aren't getting open, guess what? I'm going to make some plays with my legs. And this guy had some magnificent runs, one of which I saw live last year at Soldier Field against Green Bay. God damn, that was a delicious run. Okay. Anyway, what you're seeing too is you're seeing Ryan Poles do what you should do with the cap room that they have, and now the draft capital, and that's address your offensive line in the draft. Right? Let's get some young guys in there that can play. We'll get some offensive line help with some veterans for lower key money, but they're going out and. On the defensive side of the ball, I love what they're doing.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
They're defending against their division, so they're looking to come out of this division.
That's yours.
I don't know what you're doing.
Keeps falling down.
They're looking to go 6-0 in their division next year, and I'll tell you why. One guy that we didn't touch on when we talked about Minnesota was the addition of T.J. Hawkinson, right?
Yeah.
Who was a magician over the center of the field. What does Chicago do? They go out and they get two of the premier linebackers available in free agency.
All right, I want to impress upon you. We're about to talk about them.
Monsters.
I just want to talk about fantasy right now.
Oh, man.
So you really should talk about the offense.
Talk about the offense.
Yeah. All right.
We're going to have time for the defense.
All right, fine. All right, I can go on the offense too. All right, so you have some offensive line trouble, and you're going to address the offensive line via the draft, right? So you're going to have some younger, unproven guys. What better thing to do to go out and get yourself a bona fide pass blocking running back like Kerry Blasingame, right? Very underrated, low key, stellar move.
Wish I knew who that was.
He said fullback.
Fullback.
Right.
So
deep in the weeds.
Some
people still use.
No, I like fullbacks, but it's the fact that he's talking about a fullback.
Fullbacks are lost art, man. Fullbacks. All
right, let's entertain the people. Let's talk about more. I want to hear about Claypool.
We'll get there. So what you're doing?
Let's get there. We're running on 2 minutes now. Let's go.
I like foreplay, man. Foreplay is the best part of it.
So for you,
you're right. And
is foreplay for you eating a piece of chicken before you?
Anyway, so you bring in a guy that's gonna pass block and is gonna give Justin Fields a couple more seconds to possibly go through his progressions, right?
That's right.
So you have Mooney coming back from injury. Yeah. You have DJ Moore. What a fantastic move this is, because this guy can pretty much play any receiver position on the field. He's not necessarily going to high point. He's a little shorter. It's 6 foot, 215. But the guy's going to get open. He's going to beat coverage. He's going to beat coverage across the middle. He's going to drag coverage for your other dynamic receivers. You have Claypool, who's an absolute goddamn monster.
All right, Mark, I'm sorry. I got to cut you off. Who do you want in fantasy, Mark?
All of them.
You're talking up why the Bears are going to be good. That's not what I want right now.
That's the legitimate question.
Who's the wide receiver you want?
We've been talking about Mooney for 3 years. Love it or not, he hasn't produced. We thought that getting Claypool would help.
I don't think that's fair right
I
now,
don't
but
think that's
yes.
fair either.
I mean, produced, but he hasn't produced with what our expectations were.
So we've been talking about Mooney for 2 years.
Production
Yes.
is okay. He's had production.
No, I said last year that Mooney's not a number one, and I think he got a number one now. So
And Mooney and Claypool weren't even on the field together, I
Yeah.
don't believe.
So
I believe Claypool was brought in after Mooney was injured.
no, they were on the field together at least a couple games.
I don't think it's a fair sample size.
But, yeah.
I'll side with you on that.
Okay,
Okay.
so you're saying Moore is the pure number one,
I think Muir, without a doubt, number one.
and now we have
100%.
three. Now we have three. So who's your money going to?
So you're going to have scripted plays for DJ Moore.
Yeah.
End of story. DJ Moore is going to demand the lion's share of the targets. So you're going to have scripted in there many plays for him. Now, with that being said, you're also going to have blatant Mooney plays, right? Where no matter what the coverage looks like, they know that they're going Mooney, and obviously Claypool is going to be the man inside the 20.
Mm-hmm.
But you can bank on DJ Moore receiving the most targets in this offense.
All right, so here's the real question, right? And two of them, and please keep it succinct, my friend. Is DJ Moore, with all the hype, I think there's going to be a lot of hype because of the move, just everything that it entails, is he going to be worth where he's going to be drafted at? So, yes, I do believe he's the number one guy. He's going to get the lion's share. He's going to be productive. But is he going to be worth where you draft him at? Number one. Number two, are you investing in this backfield?
All right. So number one, yes, he's going to be very much a value where you get him, because right now you're getting him like rounds 6 through 8.
You think that's going to hold?
I do.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of question marks. There are a lot of people that don't believe in Justin Fields.
Okay.
All right. And I, obviously I'm a Bears fan, but I do believe with the amount of weapons on the field, and how I know that they're going to have to use DJ Moore to keep him happy. Mm-hmm. And what DJ Moore was able to do with Sam Darnold, what he was able to do with Baker Mayfield.
I agree with all that. Yeah.
He's going to get the ball. Right?
All right, so the backfield.
So the backfield, I'm investing in Khalil Herbert.
Okay.
I think it's a foregone conclusion. Montgomery is gone. Bears don't re-up on their running backs unless, they're Matt Forte. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, he's gone. Khalil Herbert is a more than capable back who is a very, very good pass-catching back. That's who I'm investing in pre-draft.
Okay.
Now, if Chicago comes out and shocks the world with the 9th overall pick and goes and selects their next franchise running back, Bijan Robinson,
Yeah.
I'm changing my tune a little bit.
That's fair, and we're going to talk about that after the draft. All right, last question for you on the Bears. This is yes or no. I don't want a whole soliloquy about it. I want yes or no. Is Cole Kmet starting tight end on the 12-team league this year?
100%.
Okay. All right, so now we're done with the Bears. We're done with the Lions. We're done with the Vikings. Go ahead. You got one more? Go
And
ahead.
the Packers.
One more thing.
I was going to get there.
The smartest thing this Bears could do is take a kind of go back to what Chase did in Pittsburgh and take a kind of the page out of what they did with Juju, Deontay, and Chase.
I do not disagree with this at all.
Yeah, and absolutely recreate that with this wide receiver core, but with a better tight end. And some would say maybe not as good of running backs, but pretty damn close.
So you're running Mooney at slot. Right?
To me,
I think that's where you should put him.
To me, Mooney plays that Juju role. DJ plays the Deontay, and then you've got
Claypool playing the Claypool role.
Yeah, and so of course, yeah. But I mean, I think it could be exciting.
I like Claypool more as the Juju.
Well, maybe so. Yeah, and then I like I understand the want and the desire to take that running back there. But if
they don't need him.
If I'm the Bears, I am stocking up and maybe taking the best offensive lineman and just fixing your offensive line issues. Because when you look at Fields in college, he didn't run. He ran when he had to. He preferred to pass, and he was an amazing passer. And in the NFL, people see him as a running quarterback, and that's not who he is.
Well, he's a hell of a runner, but
he
yes,
is a hell
I
of
agree
a
with
runner,
you.
but that's not who he is. He prefers to throw the ball. He just had to run for his life in Chicago because they had shit for an offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also in Ohio State, what's the toughest game on their schedule?
All right, let's not get
Bethune-Cookman?
Here we go. All right.
Wow.
So, all right, let's move on to our pressing issues, guys.
Pressing issues. What's the issue? If there's issues, we gonna press them.
Yeah.
I want to do it every time.
I bet you do.
I swear to God, the way that our heads to that song makes me think of like the guys, like we would be the guys that wore our own T-shirts to our own concert. We're
First of
those
all,
guys.
100%. Secondly, if that song came on in a club,
People will be like,
everybody's
what's
what
this?
the hell? Everybody's coming on. They're
What is
leaving the
it?
drinks to
What's
the
that?
table. Women are getting something put in the drinks while
Wow.
they're dancing. I'm not saying it's
What
good.
kind of party is this?
It's that kind of party, baby. It's a late 90s party.
All right, so for our pressing issues, guys, we're going to stay on the topic of free agents. And while we took a fantasy slant in our fantasy section, which makes sense, we're just going to talk about overall impact of the free agent signings we've seen so far. It is Tuesday. It is approximately 6:30-ish.
6:23 p.m.
There you go. I was close. 6:23 p.m. on Tuesday. So that is the timestamp of the moves we've seen made. We're each going to pick a couple players, maybe 1, 2. We'll see how it goes.
Gonna be quick.
And just we're going to try to be quick, and we're going to say who we think makes the most impact so far and why. And we're going to start with Mark. Mark, who is it?
All right, so I just learned recently, as in when I got to the studio, that apparently Rashad Penny has signed, and he signed with the Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles, that is.
That's crazy to
Worst
me.
franchise in the NFL, right?
Worst franchise in the
Definitely
NFL.
the ugliest, but yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely horrible. I mean, everything from their emblem to their stupid color to their shitty fans.
especially their fans.
Especially their fans. You know, I think a lot of people immediately are going to be like, this is the place for him to sign. Miles Sanders is gone. Rashad Penny's going to take over the backfield. I don't think that's true, man. I think that Miles Sanders isn't going to be back in Philly, even though he was very productive last year.
Yeah.
Because Kenneth Gainwell was also very productive.
Okay.
And I think that Kenneth Gainwell is your more versatile back. I think he's going to be a fantastic pass catching back. I think he's slight, but he fits that offense, man. That offense isn't a design run offense. That offense goes through Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to get his fair share of carries. He's going to be looking down the field to his two very dominant receivers and his amazing tight end. This team, I think Rashad Penny is probably going to fill definitely the goal line role.
You mean for like the 8 games he plays?
Yeah, if he even plays 8. What he signed? What
trying
they
to
signed
be
for?
optimistic.
Did they sign him for 4 years? Is that why he's playing 8 games?
I'm trying to be optimistic.
You know, I think that it was a wasted signing only because I really do like Kenneth Gainwell and
But they need depth.
I really do like Boston Scott too. I think they could have gotten by with those guys.
That's how much bullshit you're talking at the wall starting to peel off.
Especially since it's because I put it up there with the broom so many times. There's like dead spiders and shit in between like the stick on the
Daddy
wall.
long legs, we call it where I'm from.
Yeah, there you go. That was my nickname in high school.
All right, so moving on.
No, but I think it was wasted money, right?
Okay.
So I think that, especially since everybody's leaving Philly. Why bring in a guy like that? It's not to compete. It's not to win. It's wasted signing.
The other side, and I don't know, like the contract hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
Depending on what they paid, anytime you can bring another playmaker in, I think you do it if you're the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I do love what Penny offers. My only question is he's not necessarily been a receiving back.
Well, you got that in Gainwell.
Yeah, you do, but still, I like to have
The versatility.
I don't like when you know a back comes on the field there
And what he's doing, like AJ Dillon.
Yeah. So, but I like it if he can stay healthy. I think he's another, and I think in some ways he might be. I like him better than Miles Sanders if he's healthy.
Okay, that's fair. But if he's healthy is a big thing, and I guess the Derrick Henry trade is dead, right, for Philadelphia. I guess we put that to bed. All right, I'll talk about my guy next, and the one I'm really interested in, I think is going to have a big impact, is Sam Darnold. And the reason I say that is because you have a team that was a couple quarters away from going to the Super Bowl if they didn't lose every viable quarterback on their roster, right? But with Jimmy Garoppolo going to Vegas, Sam Darnold coming off a decent year with a coach change mid-year, first real, let's be honest. He was with Adam Gase for 2 years before that, who was kind of just a laughingstock in the NFL right now. Had a solid year last year. Nothing crazy, but he showed that he could steady the ship. We seen with Kyle Shanahan with Mr. Irrelevant, with Jimmy Garoppolo, who went out and got $22 million, about $11 million guaranteed a year. So not the cream of the crop with the quarterbacks there. went to Super Bowl, NFC Championship with those two guys. Remains to be seen how Trey Lance bounces back, if he's really that guy. Brock Purdy, did he start 6 games? Sam Darnold walks into that facility being the most experienced, probably the highest upside, probably, because he was drafted where he was drafted.
Yeah, 3rd overall.
Over Brock Purdy. And Trey Lance kind of being, we don't know. I think there's a chance that he challenges and possibly starts for that team. And I think they can win. I think if they have Sam Darnold in that NFC Championship game, they can win that game last year. So I think that's a huge impact. I think without Garoppolo there was a big question mark at the quarterback position for the 49ers. But with Darnold in there, I think they kind of solidified it. If they're not going to have Purdy step up and show that it wasn't just a flash in the pan at the end of the year last year, you have a guy I think Shanahan can make more than viable if he could do it with Jimmy G.
I think that is a huge hot take, my friend.
Why?
That is,
Talk up Trey Lance and Brock Purdy to me, please.
I'm not going to. Aside from, I think that Purdy, no UCL tear withstanding, I think he
deserved the chance
to start next year. But I mean, you're talking about Darnold that was on a team that showcased 4 quarterbacks, and out of the 4 quarterbacks, only one quarterback had a worse completion percentage than he, and that one quarterback was Baker Mayfield.
The coach got fired halfway through the year, I'll remind you.
Who should arguably also be, dog shit in the NFL. Baker Mayfield is just...
But he's going to get signed and probably start for the Buccaneers.
But here's my only counterpoint to that is that you're saying Purdy... I don't think Purdy earned the right, really, to anything. He was the last pick in the draft. They didn't go out and get Darnold because they think Purdy's going to be the starter week 1. They got him for a reason. I think both Purdy and Lance coming off injuries, not seeing Lance really play enough at all. And Purdy, I think he was solid. He wasn't lighting the world on fire. And I think pedigree says something. I mean, everybody's not Tom Brady. There's a big difference there's a reason Darnold was drafted where he was and Purdy was drafted where he was. And the measurables and all that stuff and the college career means something. And I think you get either one of those. If you were to take one of those guys day one of their draft and put him with Shanahan, I think you put all your money, your house, on Darnold and not Brock Purdy.
Okay, so this leads, you mentioned the name you're not supposed to mention. So first of all, here's Brock Purdy's stats: 67% completion.
But that's completion percentages.
Listen,
come on,
better than what you had with Darnold. 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The issue is Purdy is hurt, and he's hurt bad, and they're saying it's going to be 8 to 9 months before he comes back. Mm-hmm. Darnold is a placeholder in case they can't get Tom Brady. He's coming out of retirement.
This is the hot take segment.
He's coming out of retirement. He's coming back to San Fran. He is going to quarterback the 49ers this year. The 49ers don't sign Hargrave from the team that just beat them in the NFC Championship. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. I feel bad for Sam.
I don't want to push back. I want to kick back. Purdy was 8-1 for Christ's sake. He led them to the NFC Championship.
But he's not going to be playing for 8 to 9 months.
Hey, can I say something along those same lines? Jimmy Garoppolo led them to a Super Bowl and a NFC Championship game, and they got him out of there as soon as they could. I don't care about that because Shanahan doesn't care about it either.
Tom Brady.
My point is Sam Darnold, you're comparing him what he did with Matt Rule, who got the Brinks truck backed up for him and then got fired halfway through that contract. You're telling me that's who you're comparing him to Shanahan and giving me the completion percentage? Are you shitting me? Shanahan's offense with Debo and Ayuk and all those running backs, all the shit they scheme up. You're telling me that's even with what the hell they were doing in Carolina.
You're talking about Carolina, the fucking team that is like the king of the
get it out. I don't know.
The line of scrimmage pass, for crying out loud.
Oh my God.
Everything's dink and dunk. That dude ain't going downfield.
Matt Rule.
Tom Brady's going to prove who Tom Brady is.
This is the worst take ever.
He's not Giselle's history. I'm telling you, he's going to let his little daughter's cat
Hot
that he
take.
just
A hot take.
adopted.
Can I give a hot take?
He's coming back.
Giselle,
I think you did
Giselle,
already.
No, Giselle. Well, he gave a hotter take. Giselle, not that hot. Not that hot.
That's not a hot take. I think that's.
No, I mean everybody's just super model, just super hot.
Okay.
I don't see
I'm
it.
gonna-
You got
let-
boxy body, dude.
Let me go to my. Let
she
me go to
don't-
my
she
player.
don't-
Midsection in the hips doesn't add up for me.
Let me go to my player.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to pick Tomlinson.
Tom Brady. Okay,
No,
sorry.
I always pick Tom Brady, but Delvin Tomlinson for the Browns. I think you improve several ways. One is by having a better defense, and I think he's going to do it. Bigger names, Hargraves, which the Browns could never be in on because he was too expensive. And then there was a lot of talk of Dermott Jones kind of bringing him back home to Cleveland, which is where he was from. But
Turn that shit down. What is that? Is that you?
Yeah, I didn't realize. I was like, where's that coming from?
I guess we'll be cutting that off. It could have been worse sounds that came out of Mark's computer. So,
No, it's the phone, not
all
the
right,
computer.
one. We just go with that.
Then we're just keeping it in.
Anyways, I think Tomlinson, though, if you look at PFF, he actually graded out as the 12th best free agent signing so far. He shores up their defensive line, which they needed. He's not a huge sack guy, but
He's not even a little sack guy.
yeah, well, that's true. He's had only, I think, 20 in his entire career, but
Do you prefer like a little sack guy or a big sack guy?
He likes a medium sack guy.
I mean, I'll take any kind of sack guy you give me.
That's
So,
right.
Just as long as they're sack.
I think he's going to be great in Cleveland. I think he's going to solve a problem, and I think it's going to stop a lot of the long drives.
I agree with you. He drafted by the Giants. He's a.
He was.
The
was.
guy's a tank.
Yeah.
I'll give him that, and he's a really good player. I missed him when we lost him. 0 in the pass rush game.
Yeah.
So
They don't
I
need
think
him,
it's
though.
I think it's a super solid signing, especially what they have on the edge already. But biggest impact, I don't know if he makes the biggest impact. I think your second pick probably makes the biggest impact. Why don't you get into that real quick? Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Myers.
Okay, let me tell you what is great about this. First
Besides
of all,
his looks,
oh God, the guy is freaking adorable.
I don't know if
And
he's
let me tell you-
adorable. I think he's sexy.
Let me tell you who won.
Can't see another boner alert going on right now.
Let me tell you who won. Who won free agency?
Las Vegas.
Jimmy G leaves San Fran
Yeah,
for Vegas.
yeah, that's right.
Bachelorette parties.
Is he
Women-
married or is he single? He's single.
Who cares?
Okay,
Women all over the place.
that's right.
This guy,
You've been there.
he probably took less money.
No,
he's probably like, I'll come for free.
Won't we all come
You
for
know
free?
where we can guarantee where he's definitely not is on that cruise with Zach. That's where he's not.
Yeah, because it's an all-male cruise.
It's all males.
I think this is a good signing. I think honestly, he's a lot like Derek Carr to me. It's almost
No,
like a
I
trade.
argue that he's not.
Garoppolo wears guy liner.
He is natural. He's naturally emo.
Yeah. Oh no.
Hey, the Garoppolo's a winner. Derek Carr's won one playoff game in his career.
Okay, in that they're different, but if you look at the style
It's a
of
big.
quarterback,
Well, it's a big that
style of quarterback though similar. They
White
play
guy.
within the system.
pocket passer.
Yeah, pocket passer play within the system. I think Jimmy's got a little bit more
Looks.
run.
Where
He's
do
definitely
you
better
rate
looking.
if Jimmy's a 10? Where's Carr? On looks.
Oh no, I mean Carr's 4.5, 5.
Wow,
maybe.
really?
Wow, holy shit.
I don't think he's that bad looking, Rock.
No, he's not. But Jimmy's just it's
He
like
does-
a
he
whole
does it
nother.
for you.
It's like a whole nother level. Come on, Anyways,
So you would take Carr's body with Jimmy's face.
I don't want to get into this, but I think Jimmy G in Las Vegas with the people around him.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
Okay.
I don't think it's that much of a downgrade to what he had in San Fran. I love Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, you do.
I like Devontae Adams.
So do I.
I questioned the Jacoby Myers signing because I was like, where does he fit? I honestly thought immediately, man, I hope the Browns call Vegas and try to get
that's-
Hunter Renfrow.
That's biased.
Yeah, because I was like, well, is he the odd man out? But instead of getting rid of Renfrow, they traded Waller, which,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Clears up some targets. You can't tell me that you don't love that receiving core.
Oh, you do, and it's similar to what I thought he could have went to Dallas and paired him
Yes.
up with Lamb, but pairing him
Yeah.
up with Adams probably even better.
Yeah.
I think out of all
And I
of
think
Cleveland-
Garoppolo and Dak or Spider-Man meme.
out of Out of all Cleveland's needs, the one need I don't think they have is white wide receiver.
Yeah, you don't want a white wide
I
receiver
don't
in
think you
Cleveland.
need that in Cleveland.
No,
at
hey.
all.
I don't know if you saw who we lined up sometimes last year at wide receiver. We need wide receivers.
White ones? Okay.
We need any wide receivers.
Beasley's still out there.
Cole Beasley. Yeah,
All right,
no, we don't-
And he's unvaccinated.
All right, so I was going to go. I'm not going to talk about Waller because I don't think it's the most impactful. I will say Tremaine Edmonds to me is super impact. Even though I think they overpaid just a bit with guaranteed money, but I think for that franchise, their history, getting a guy in the middle of the defense like that, just a controller, a guy that's going to be your quarterback on defense, reestablishing their identity, I think is a big deal. And I think he's going to, just the attitude and the moxie of that team, I think he's going to make a big impact in the locker room, on the field, and just the general feeling about that team. They've added so much on offense. Like you said in the draft, they do have to shore up the line and all that stuff. But I think bringing him in is a big move.
Yeah, I would like to see on paper what it looks like them when they got rid of Roquan Smith versus bringing in Tremont Edmonds and seeing what the differential is versus like where they moved up possibly in draft capital, what they saved at the time to be able to spend now. But I'm pretty sure, without really investigating, that he's getting similar money to what they could have given Roquan.
I think it's the leadership stuff.
But Roquan was a leader. Roquan was he was a town favorite. Like Roquan was the face of that franchise. And, Roquan's the reason why, they went and they let Khalil Mack, walk to San Diego.
It was a good move.
Or Los
Vegas.
Angeles, wherever the fuck that
Vegas.
team is now. But I'm not gonna boo-hoo over spilt milk because I think the Edmonds signing, I think the Edwards signing, I think they're both quality moves, and we brought in the D end. I think Chicago's doing what they need to not have excuses as to why they played poorly this year.
That's fair.
I think they should win some games. I think they're going to win some games, and I'm looking forward to the season.
All right, and what do you have to say about the Saints? I know you wanted to talk about this.
Well, real quick, I think just the addition of Derek Carr adds
Stability.
a little bit of stability at the quarterback position,
They
right?
needed that, yeah.
Yeah. Just, post Drew Brees, it's been rotational.
Shit show.
Yeah. I mean, you're playing a quasi tight end, running back, quarterback, 30% of the time. You have
Tim Tebow Max.
Captain Crab Legs, and then you had
I liked crab legs.
Then you had the Red Rocket. You've had a bunch of guys there that I just don't think we're going to work out. And I think bringing in Carr is going to maximize Chris Olave's his potential. And just now, the Saints went, and they are going to keep Michael Thomas for 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year, I seen that.
So that must have been completely restructured because he was due like $28 million or something crazy this year.
Yeah,
so
well,
that's got to be restructured.
It was easier to re-sign him than cut him. If they cut him, they had something like a $42 million cap hit.
Wow.
So, I think they had to
That makes
either
sense, yeah.
re-sign him or trade him.
Probably worked out for him, too, because it'd be tough for him to latch on somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
Also breaking right now is Miami locks up their two running backs, too. It's going to be another Mostert
Jeff Wilson
show.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I think both are underappreciated backs.
Yeah, I think so, too.
That's pretty good, guys. We went long, but I think we covered pretty much everything on the free agency thing. I'm going to try to have this out a little bit earlier this week, so expect to see this. Hopefully, this is Wednesday night you're seeing this. But if you're seeing it later, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, also here on YouTube at GOM Podcast. Am I right with that? And watch our other show, Guys on Draft. Please give us song suggestions from Mark. We'll pick out of the hat next week. Thank you for being with us. Jeez, are you all right? You can hold it for 10 more seconds? Thank you for being with us. Peace.